Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Book Buzz Show. I am your host, Cheryl Brooks. And if you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. If you enjoy the upcoming show, please like, follow, subscribe, and share the broadcast. And for those of you who are new here at the Book Buzz Show, we do discuss the books and characters with minor spoilers, but we don't give anything major away that would ruin your reading enjoyment, just enough to whet your appetite and hopefully make you want to go out and get the book. In addition to being a live broadcast, we are also a podcast. So you can check us out when you are on the go at the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Also, for those who are new here, we now do a second segment where we do weekly highlights. So please stick around for that. It will be like whatever. It doesn't have to be anything recent, but whatever me and my co-host, a 5-star review or something that stood out to us, and we want to share it with other book lovers. So please make sure you stick around for that portion as well. All right, we have a great show in store for you this evening. We will be discussing Cade by A.C. Author. And here is the book on the screen. Let me bring that up. Oh, I love this cover too. It's Cade by A.C. Author. And for those who are listening later, again, that's Cade by A.C. Author. And it's part of a Donovan Dynasty novel. It's part of that series. All right, so we'll get right into it. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on tonight's guest along with my co host this evening, Katina Brown. And let me just bring them on the stage.
Hello.
Hello, ladies. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good evening.
So good to have you on the show, AC. For finally, we were able to connect.
I know. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Looks like we have a few people in the audience. Hi, Erica. Thank you for joining us. Hi, JB. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, ladies.
And
Hey,
we
Miss
also have
JB.
Mhm.
Instagram up. Hi, Bookies Books. Hello over there. We for some reason Instagram doesn't show up in the main feed, so we'll just keep an eye over there as well. Hi, Myra. Thank you for joining us. All right, so we'll get right into it. And since this is your first time on the show, can you tell us a little bit about your professional writing journey and how you got started in the business?
I was just talking to my mother about this last night. I was saying, um, we were talking about something, and I said, when I tell people, when they ask me how I started writing, I always say that I was, when I was growing up, I was taught that what I needed to do in life was graduate high school, go to college, get a job as a secretary, get married, have some kids. That was
Mm-hmm.
it. Do my 9 to 5, go home, take care of my kids. And I
Right.
did all of those things. I did all of those things because that's what I was told to do. And then I realized that I wanted to write. Like it wasn't, um, I know sometimes people are like, oh, I knew I always wanted to write. No, I
Right.
really didn't. I didn't. I read books and I knew that I did not always agree with the ending to the books that I read.
Okay.
And I would feel like, oh, I could do that better. I could. you know, write that better.
Okay.
And when I was in high school, I just started writing because I was like, I could just if I wrote this, it would make much more sense than what they wrote. And so I would
Mhm.
write little stories, but nobody ever read them. Like it was just for me. Like this was just something
Right.
to prove that I could do it
Mhm.
and it would be better. Really, only the only person who knew it was better was me because I wasn't letting anybody else read it. Um, but then when I did all the things and I got married and I had the family and I was working at one of my jobs, it was such a boring job. And I would share what I was writing with the receptionist. And she really liked it. And every day I'd be back there writing and she'd be like, "Oh, send me another part, send me another part." And I send her some
Okay.
more and send her some
That's
more.
awesome.
But again, that was the only person that saw it. It never occurred to me that this would be a thing. Like
Right.
this would be a job.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and then my oldest daughter got sick and I had to leave the job and go home and take care of her. And she used to have a tutor used to come to the house for 2 hours a day. And when the tutor was at the house, I didn't have anything to do. And so I went back and I had just gotten a computer in the house and I was like, well, I'll just write another story. And so I started writing another story. And then I saw online something about Genesis Press. I think it was a book. No, I saw it wasn't Genesis Press first. It was BET Books I saw
Okay.
first.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, so they have romances with black women?" Like I've been reading Nora Roberts and Danielle Steele
Me
and
too. Me too.
Mhm.
I was
Right.
like, "Oh no, they have black people?" And so I just kept looking at the books and then I saw Genesis Press and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just send this here. See what happens." Again, this is not going to be a job. Like as soon as my daughter gets all situated, I'm going to go back to work, in another law firm and continue on the thing that I was supposed to do in life.
Mhm.
Right.
And Genesis called me one night. They called so late at night. It was almost 10 o'clock at night. And was like, "Oh yeah, we want to make an offer to buy your book." And that was it.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
And then it became a job.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that, and I
Wow.
Yeah.
love hearing the different stories of how people got started.
Hmm.
JB has said, "Oh yeah," she's saying that's right. Do it your way.
Oh my goodness. What year was that? My first book was published in 2006. So that had to be about 2004 when I got the call.
Okay,
Because then it
okay.
took a while. Because when they first sent me the manuscript back and it had all this red markings and I called them and I was like, "Look, if you didn't like the book, you shouldn't have bought it. Like, why are you doing all of this? Obviously, you didn't like what I wrote."
So
And she
you
was
kept sending me all these.
right.
Right.
And she was like, "No, this is the process." So I had to learn that that was the process. Like I didn't know, I knew absolutely nothing about the publishing industry. I just sent this book in. I
Mhm.
wrote it, I printed it, just sent it. Just like that. It was
Mhm.
like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then after I got the offer, then I was like, well, maybe I should have an agent. So now I'm researching it. I'm trying to find it. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I'm just out here winging it. And I'm like, well, if they're gonna publish a book, then I guess I better do what they tell me to do
Right,
so they can
right.
publish this book. So
They say I probably need an agent too, so let me
I
get
mean,
that.
but I sold them 2 books before I got the agent.
Oh, really? Okay, okay.
Because that process took a long time. And again, probably because I know what I was doing and I was sending all kinds of crazy stuff
Mhm.
to these agents, and they was like, "No, no, ma'am." Um, but I did finally find one, and I did a lot. I think I did about 6 books for Genesis Press.
Okay, okay.
And then Harlequin came up with Kamani, and that's actually when the Donovans were born.
That's
When
when it
Harlequin,
all took off.
yep,
Wow.
really look, it really became a job then.
Goodness.
So, well, I think I told you this before too, when we were communicating online, that my first introduction to you actually wasn't the Donovans; it was your paranormal, shadow shifters.
The Shifters.
Mhm.
Long time ago.
Long,
I read that long time ago.
yeah, they were a long time ago too. Yeah.
And then I discovered the Donovans and I started reading the Donovans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I love. Any kind of family, strong family
Mm-hmm.
bonds. So that was right up my alley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and okay, so I got to show this cover again because I love this cover.
Very nice.
I love this. I love this guy on this cover.
Yes.
Oh man, I love a beautiful cover, and this one is definitely giving me all the feels for real.
Aisha Bree designed that cover.
Oh really? Okay.
Hmm.
I think you were like the second person, the second author that was on here who she did their book covers.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hmm
Okay.
so for people who are new to you, can you give us, because Cade is part of the Donovans, but this is like the spinoff though, right?
Right.
This is a spinoff.
Yes. So the
Okay.
Donovans have had a couple of spinoffs. They had the Donovan Friends
hmm
spinoff, and then the Donovan Dynasty spinoff. Next year there'll be a new spinoff.
Oh really? Okay.
So yeah, they just keep spinning
Keep
off.
growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, it's just a lot of them.
Now, what's the origin story behind the Donovans? How did you come up with that series?
So I really liked Dynasty.
Yeah.
Um, but I grew up watching all of the soap operas because
Me
my
too.
aunt used to babysit me and she was always watching the soap operas. So
Mhm.
I grew up watching all of the soap operas. And then like I said, I liked Dynasty. And so when I thought about a family, um I knew that I wanted it to be um a family that had wealth and that could be flashy and wear pretty dresses. Um
hmm
like Crystal Carrington. She always wore pretty dresses.
Yes, she
Every day.
did.
Right. And I was like,
Going
so,
nowhere.
so I wanted somebody who would wear pretty dresses and just be walking around the house and have their kids and their kids got all this money and would be doing all this stuff. Um,
Mhm.
but I've written this story guarding his body and I submitted it to Harlequin. And I was in the mall shopping when they called me. And well, I was window shopping because I ain't had no money, but I was in the mall and they called and she was like, "Look, I got this book and it's really good. Like your writing is really good, but I just don't need it right now." And I was like, "Ma'am, you interrupted me in the mall
Right.
Right,
to
right,
tell
right.
me, like, why are you calling me? This could have been a letter. Why are you calling me to say that you really don't want this right now?" She
Mhm.
said, "But she said, I have this opening that just became available in the schedule." She said, "And I really need something. And so I wanted to know if you have something else." Now,
Okay.
Okay.
when I tell y'all this, the book was written, but it was totally different. It was not a series. It was just something I had written. All these things I write and they just be sitting over there.
Right.
Mhm.
And but when she said that, I certainly was not going to say, "No, I don't have anything written."
Right.
I was like, "Yes, ma'am, I do. I do. I do." She was like, "I mean, do you have something that fits the Kamani brand? Like, what we want?" I said, "I know exactly what you write." And she probably was asking me that because the book I sent her was not what they
Okay.
published.
Okay.
But I was like, "Yes, I know exactly what you published," because I had every intention of going to the bookstore and buying all the books I could find from Harlequin and go home and read them so that I would know exactly what
Right.
you
Right.
published. Um, she was like, "Oh, okay. Well, since you have a book, um, do you think you could?" This was a Friday. She said, "Do you think you could send it to me? Put it in the mail on Monday?" I was like, "Uh-huh, I can."
I know that's right.
I was like, "I sure can." I left that mall. I went home and I had some Harlequin because I used to get the subscription, the
hmm
Harlequin subscription. And I went home and I laid out all the books I had and I'm reading all the blurbs and I'm like, "Okay, now this you gotta have this and you gotta have this and you gotta have this." I rewrote that book in a weekend.
Wow.
Okay.
And that was the Donovans.
Wow.
But I knew when I rewrote it, I wanted it to be a family,
hmm
but I was like, "Okay, well, we can only handle a little bit of people right now. So let's just have three people." So it was
Mhm.
the triple threat Donovan brothers. So that's all I pitched. I sent it. And by the end of that week, um, she was offering me a contract for it.
I love that.
Great.
Yep. And so the
I got to get
Donovans
back
were
on track with the
born.
Donovans too, because I was like reading here and there, so I'm like
Hmm.
all over the place with it. So I need to go back and read it from the beginning.
It's a lot of them, and more I know that readers will say they don't like really long series,
Mhm.
um, like every series should end. And I believe that um, storylines should end. I
Mm,
think that a storyline should end. But I think if you have a different story to tell, then tell that story.
True.
right, right.
Um,
True.
it's not my fault if it's their cousin or they they got a story too. So, but
Right?
that's why I do the spinoffs so that
Mhm.
I I don't want to continue it unless I feel like I have another story to
Something new.
tell.
Yeah, something
I love,
fresh.
Hmm.
I love that.
Um, JB is saying that is really truly an awesome begin.
It
Yes,
is.
yes,
Oh,
It
thank
is.
definitely. Now, do you have any writing quirks? I always want to know too about with authors. Do you have anything that you have to have when you sit down to write? Special
um,
lighting, music, ambiance.
no, I can write anywhere, and I do. Like I have always written at home, of course, and I always write at work.
Oh,
Um,
really? Okay.
I always, yeah, because you know.
Anybody from work watching this? Okay,
Right.
just kidding.
I do, like, on the lunch break or
Okay.
because I always get in the office earlier than
Mhm.
Hmm.
anybody else, I would have this time
Right.
that what am I doing? I mean, I'm eating my breakfast, but I'm
Right.
also writing this book
Mhm.
because that's what I
Mhm.
do. Now they know that I'm an author, so it's not
Right.
like a
Right.
secret or anything. So yeah, as long as what they're paying me to do is done,
It's done. Right.
That's funny.
I'm
But
writing
you
this
know
book.
that's how it always happened too. When you're away, that's
Right.
when the ideas start coming. So
Yep.
I can see it
So
coming like when you're at work and stuff.
I
Yeah.
write wherever when I travel. A lot of times when I'm at conferences, I am so not a people person, and they have things. It's so weird that I say that, but I'm just not. And so they'll have things like parties and stuff, or like things that are late at night because I really like to be in bed at 8. So they have things that are late in the evening. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be in my room. Like I don't know what y'all planning on doing, but I will be in my room. And I'm a lot of times I'm writing, and I write I write best early in the morning.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So even when I'm at hotels, I'm up early in the morning, trying to be in the corner with a little bit of light because my husband's in the room sleeping.
Right.
Like, well, look, that this book has to get written, so
Mhm.
that's what it is.
I can see it though, even like especially if it's like nice out, you can go out by the pool
Oh
and sit out
Mhm.
yeah.
there.
Or go
Yeah.
Mhm.
down to like the little cafe in the hotel.
Right. Because I even
Yep.
do that with reading. I'll go out to the pool or something
Mhm.
early in the morning while I still,
Mhm.
Or
um,
even like, so I walk in the morning and I'm usually listening to an audiobook while I'm walking.
mm,
But if like this morning I was like thinking about the things that I had to do this week, and I'm like, oh, I have to start this book this week. So before I start any book, I'm doing the outline. And so as I'm walking, I'm thinking of stuff to put in the outline. So I'm typing it on my phone, typing it on my phone. And my
mhm.
husband walks by me and he's like, are you working or are you walking? I was like, I'm doing both. I am a master
Right.
multitasker.
Say multitask. I know that's right. So you do outline your stories.
Oh, absolutely. I did
Okay.
not in the beginning, and I'm telling you, I learned that lesson because the triple threat John Donovans were not outlined.
Oh,
Hmm.
They
well,
would
okay.
just they would just sit down and write this. They would just, okay, well, in this once I wrote the first book though, Trent kind of took on this life of his own. And
Hmm.
so I kind of knew how his story would play out. I knew he was going to have to fall really hard because he's too smart. So once I started writing, like I got his story, and then I'm writing his story. Adam's story is coming.
Right.
So, but I still wasn't outlining, and it was like it made the editorial process harder when I
Hmm.
did not have an outline. So I make sure I outline now, even though I don't really follow it
But you know
perfect.
what I'm thinking too, for all the characters that you have,
Mhm.
it would make it easy to keep things straight.
Absolutely.
But how do you keep the character straight? Do you do a character Bible or whatever they call it?
So now it's funny. Now I do character Bibles as soon as I start writing the book. I did not back then. With all the lessons that you learn, I'm telling you,
Right.
look, trial and error, trial and error. Um, when I got into the Donovan Friends books, then I'm like, "Oh, this is a lot of people. Like, how am I keeping up with all these
Hmm.
people? I have all of this stuff going on, and
Right.
I don't know who this is. I don't know who that is." And so I wrote. This was just a few years ago. I forgot what book it was I wrote, and I said somebody. Oh, Tia was pregnant with triplets, and then she only had one baby. And when I, the two ladies on my street team were messaging me, and they was like, "Girl, what happened to the triplets? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Who had triplets?" They was like, "Tia was pregnant with." I said, "Look," I said, "No, she wasn't." I'm arguing with them like,
Right.
how you gonna tell me what's in my book?" They was like, "No, she was not." They pulled out the book and the
Oh,
page. I was like,
You
and
know,
when they
readers will tell you. Yeah,
right, but
readers
yes.
will tell
when they
you
told me, and it was a good thing that I had let them read a copy beforehand
beforehand. Yeah.
because the book was already uploaded, and they were telling me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "I can't fix it. I can't change it." They were like, "You can't." I was like, I cannot change it."
Yeah.
So I had to regroup. I had to figure out what this is going to be. How am I going to go back and fix this? So it ended up in the next book that I wrote. I explained it. She had a
Right.
miscarriage, but it was, and I was like, "See, this is why I need a Bible." Like,
Hmm.
but at that point, I was already 18, 19 books in,
Okay.
Oh.
and so creating a Bible from that point was going
Is a
to be a
chore.
Have
huge
that
task.
hard. Yeah.
Um, So I started from that point, I started just doing it for each book as I was going along. But
Yeah.
I always knew that I would go back and reread the other books. And I was like, well, when I have time to go back, then I'll make a Bible. But from this point on, we'll build on this Bible. So now there is a Donovan Bible.
And
But
I can see that makes your life a lot easier.
it does, because telling you, it does, because there are just so many things, and so many things I forget, and then sometimes I'll start writing it and I'll say, "We're not gonna pull anything from the other books. This is all fresh. Everything is gonna be new." And
There you go.
inevitably I get to the part and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" And I have to go all the way back and find it. It's really annoying. It's really
Yes,
annoying.
Erica, you're right. Readers will be on it. That is,
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
yes, and
Because
they
They
always
I
telling
know.
me, and I'll be like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Because I know one of the authors that was on not too long ago, she said she just rereads her books before she
Mhm,
does the next one to make sure. But I know one of the authors that I've been reading a long time, she'll actually come into her group and ask the readers, okay,
mhm.
what happened on with this back in this?
Yeah.
chapter was
So I
that?
can
So
see.
the book I'm getting ready to start writing now, I did go back and read, but that was only I read the books before that, but that was only because there were only 2.
Oh, okay.
I can't go back and read all these Donovan books before I
Yeah,
start a new
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
um, the spinoff Donovan series that's coming next year, um, I'll go back and read Cade
Right.
because it
Just
draws
got the
from
last one
Cade, yeah,
right.
and I'll read, there's a Platinum Riders book that is gonna link to the
Mm.
start of that series. So I'll read that. But no, I'm not going back reading all them Donovans. Those people, those people are crazy. And also it's dangerous rereading your old work because I've
Yes.
republished some books, and so I've had to go back and reread.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm a different writer than I was back then,
Yeah.
like then I'm reading it, I'm like, nah, I should have said it like this. I should have did
Right,
this.
right.
And then it's like, "No, ma'am, you're just supposed to be reading this. You are not rewriting." And so then I have that battle of, "Oh, I really want to rewrite this,
Right.
and I can't. I don't have the time to
Let it
rewrite it.
go.
So yeah, that's dangerous. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, people bought this and people said they like this. What in the world?
Yeah, I have other authors
I
on
love
too
that.
saying they can see the growth in their writing from the beginning to
Absolutely, absolutely.
the
And the thing is, like you said, people love it. That
right.
that
Right.
part. But we're
And
always our worst critics. So,
True.
that
you
some of that
know.
stuff was really bad.
Mhm.
I was like, girl, nope, nobody told you this was bad.
Oh man. So what came first when you first started writing? Was it the paranormal or was it the Donovans?
The Donovans.
So Donovans came first. Okay, so I
Yeah.
started. Okay.
So weren't there some small town in there too?
For the Donovans. I mean,
No, not the Donovan, just some
before
books. Yeah. Or
the small
no.
town as I'm trying to think of what else
I
I wrote
thought
for the
some in the back when we got to the back of the we got to the end and it's
Oh,
some of
when
the
you
other
saw
books.
her catalog in the
The
back.
catalog. I thought there were some small
this
town romances in there. I thought.
those are the Lacey Bakers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she
Okay.
And
also writes under Lacey Baker.
yeah, and Lacey came after, so I signed the deal to write the paranormals. And later that same year, because it was with the same publisher, um, Lacey was
Okay.
born to write small town contemporary.
Okay.
So
Love it, love it, love it.
yep. So I juggle all the people.
And I don't know how you do
That's
it.
I,
astounding.
I'm several people at one time. It's a lot.
Now, were there any challenges when you first started writing in romantic suspense? Because I know I read a lot of romantic suspense too, and I know sometimes as a reader you can tell like if it's not balanced, if like it's more one or the other. Is that a challenge for you, or any other
Um,
challenges you face with that?
Not really, not with romantic suspense because there's always been suspense in my stories. The very first book I published with Genesis Press was romantic suspense.
Oh, really?
So I've
Okay.
always had suspense in my stories. Some way or something has happened.
Yeah, you're
And
right. Because even in the Shadow Shifters,
mm-hmm,
it was a over like something
yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Because I always feel like nothing is happening. Like if somebody's not dying, or like if we're not trying to figure out something, nothing is happening. And it's crazy because when I wrote the first Lacey Baker books I wrote, the Sweetland series, they had suspense in it because I was like, otherwise, you're like, well, we need this book to be 90,000 words. I said, you want 90,000 words? You don't want me to have sex? You don't
Wow,
want me
that's
to
a lot of
like this is a lot. What are they doing?
Jesus. I don't
So
want to read it and I don't want to write it.
I was like, so they have to do something.
right.
And sometimes I'll do like family drama because that's normal, so that kind of comes out.
Mm,
But I always fall back on the suspense. I always just like the suspense. I tell people all the time I write in the way that I like to read.
Hmm.
And so romantic suspense is my favorite. I read romantic suspense all the time. I read paranormal and
Me
I
too.
I read I read small town contemporary. So I
Mhm.
write the things that I like to read.
Right, and that makes sense.
that makes sense.
Now this is something that I ask all the romance authors to come on. When you're in the mood for a really good romance, what's your go-to romance movie or book? What's
Oh,
I
You've Got Mail is one of my
like that.
favorite.
Ah.
Love Jones is my absolute
Love
favorite.
Jones. Yes, yes.
Um, and then it's just a long list from there. But those are my top. Those are my top two.
Now, did you like You Got Mail more than Restlessness? What was it called? Restless. What was it?
Sleepless in
Yeah,
Seattle.
Sleepless.
Ooh.
Yes, I did.
Oh, did you? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought I
And I
like the
and
other
I
one.
watched You've Got Mail first.
Oh,
I
okay,
saw that before I saw Sleepless in Seattle.
okay.
Um, and I think I liked it better. It was more Christmassy, and I'm Christmas
Oh
365.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was more Christmassy to me. And then in Sleepless in Seattle, that little boy getting on that plane going across
That little boy was something else.
Yes.
That little boy was
look,
something else. He was determined.
If I was his father when I
He
caught
was
him,
bad.
the last the last thing I'd have been thinking about was going on some date because,
Get a
sir,
beating.
what are you doing?
Oh man.
Good
Okay,
point.
so the last question before we get into the book and the characters: what advice would you give someone just starting out on their writing journey?
Oh my goodness, finish the book. Finish the book. So many
Plain and
people
simple.
come up to me and say, I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book. I need to, I got this idea for a book and I got this idea
Right.
and I need you help. I need your help. I need your help. And I was like, you can't do anything until you have the
Until it's
words on the
done.
page.
Right.
You can't. You can't sell it. You can't market it. You can't do anything until you have the words on the page. Write the book. Just write the book. And and because I wrote my first books not knowing what in the world I was doing, I am a huge proponent of not overthinking it, not overstudying it. Write the book.
Mm,
Mhm.
Your formatting might not be right.
right.
Your grammar's not going to be right, and you're going to have typos, and you're going to, but you need to get the story out.
Just get it on
So
paper.
just get it out.
Definitely.
All of that other stuff can be fixed. Just write the book.
That's true.
I love it. Love it. And it's so true. Um, Erica said the Meg and Tom combo was unbeatable. I love, yeah,
Every
love
time.
them.
It
Love
was. It
Every
was.
single
them.
time.
It
Yes.
was. And and I like, as much as I love Pretty Woman, I
Hmm.
still think Megan Tom combo is better.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
even though I was
I
gone for
like
Pretty Woman
I
when it first came out,
I
I think I
do.
watched
I
it.
like Pretty Woman, and I like them. And they were together again. Her and Richard Gere were together in
Runaway
Runaway
Bride.
Bride.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't like that
Mhm.
as much as
Yeah,
I
that
like
wasn't as
Pretty
good.
Woman. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Because all the fairy tale romance, I loved it. Loved it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into
He-
Cade,
he-
the book and the characters. For those who haven't read Cade yet, can you give a brief overview of what it's about?
Oh my goodness. I don't know.
You remember?
Look, every time I get invited to do a book discussion, it's always months after the book has been out or a year after the book has been out. And I think to myself, do you know how many books I've written since that one? So look, I tried to study. So I got
Ooh.
it back on my computer at 6:30. I heard him ate my dinner. And I got back on at 6:30. I was like, because I can sit for like 15, 20 minutes and just read Cade. And then I'll know what I'm talking about.
Right, right, right. Okay, so who is Cade
So look,
to the Donovans, the
so
original
Yeah.
Donovan?
Cade is one of the Virginia cousins.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Virginia family came later. They came after the dynasty started, because that's when I was expanding the family. And the
Okay.
dynasty was really the UK family. So um, the Donovan started with the Houston and Las Vegas family. And then they went over to the UK. And I was like, oh, we got to have some people on the East side. Like, why wouldn't there be people living on the East Coast?
Hmm.
So Cade opens up the family that
Oh, okay.
lives on the East Coast. And Cade's story really um, pulls together all of the Donovan books. When I do a spinoff, sometimes I will have one thread that continues through each book. And so in the Donovan dynasty, um, there was a thread of, again, somebody's always trying to do something to this family,
Hmm.
trying to take their company. And so Cade's book just kind of pulled in all of the other loose ends
Agreed.
after of that mystery that was going
Mhm.
on, which really wasn't a mystery because Cade went to the UK and just thought he could kill
Too.
people.
Yeah, that's right.
So, um, and so, and I don't know why he thought he could come back to the States and that wasn't going to come back to him.
Now
Cause,
follow
cause,
them.
sir, I mean, you're a
You know,
whole,
I love those are my favorite type of alpha males, and I think that's why I'm drawn to mafia stories because
hmm
I
Yeah.
like when they can just get it done, and you don't have to worry because they're gonna take care of it.
and that's not what the Donovan men were before. And I talked about that a little. I think, where was I? I think when I was in Nashville last year, and I was like, look, um, it's hard when you've written this whole series based on these really good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like Trent was crazy. He was crazy.
Mhm.
But he was trying to get it together. He was trying to, he was trying to be a normal human being. So throughout all of those books, he was really trying to be a normal human being. He would go off the road, but we just let him go.
Right.
But they really were inherently good. Like they were
Right. They were the
good,
actual
these
heroes,
upstanding
right?
men, right?
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when Cade shot that guy, and I'll tell you, I'm sitting here writing, 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 and the next thing I know, he's pulling out the gun and he's shooting him, and I'm like, "Whoa, wait, wait! Why did you do that? Why did you do that?" Now I have to explain. Like
Right.
Right.
that's now I got to figure out why you did that. And in Suri's book, I was like, I'm not figuring out why he did that. He just did it, and that was the explanation. He just did it. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know why he did it,
And
but
then
I
you kind of
knew
explain it in his book because he says to Shauna that basically it's two parts of me.
it is. It
Yeah.
is.
Besides.
He's not
Mhm.
he is the gray area. There's no black and white with him.
Right.
He lives in that gray area. I did not know that that's what Cade was going to be when I
Mm,
first introduced Cade 6, 7 books before his book came out.
mm.
Mhm.
Um, he did it, and then we were in this place, and I was like, I can either explain it, have him apologetic, or he can just stand in it.
You just
Right.
Like he just can stand in it and that's that. And when
10-20.
I decided when I sat down to write his book, at that point I was like, yeah, that's what he did. He had a reason. I mean, and then I was like, I'll work out his reason because we still had to say, why did you kill him? Because he was giving us answers. And he was like, yeah, he wasn't giving them fast enough. Like, why I gotta wait? Like, that was the answer. And I thought to myself, oh, does that make sense? Like, can you say that?
Hmm.
But what
Yeah.
Cade taught me was stop asking questions. I can do what I want.
Right.
Right. It's your world that you
And
Right.
that you created.
even though I have been writing for a really long time, that's what Cade taught me. Stop asking questions. I'm always writing and asking questions in my mind, and then I go back and make sure I'm answering all the questions. And
Hmm.
Cade was like, "Yeah, we don't have to. We don't have to. Like, this is what they gonna do. What they gonna
Right.
do."
Right.
I mean, and then when they came and was like, "Well, now you getting suspended and you might get
Right.
arrested." Well, all right,
Okay.
well, that'll be
He's
fine
like,
too.
yeah.
He really was unbothered. He was like, and then he went out and was like, and now I'm about to kill somebody else
Right.
because
I
what you're not
can.
going to do is threaten my girl. So he was just intent on being who he was, and
Yeah.
I could not figure out a way to circle back and make him
Mhm.
like the rest of the Donovans.
No.
So this is who he is, and just so you know, going into the next into the spinoff, nobody really has any rules anymore because
Okay.
Cade has already shown me that we can break them all. So
Right.
if we
Right.
can, we will. That's just
Even
what.
though, like you said, some of the other earlier Donovans, it's been a while since I read them, but like you said, some of them could. I mean, they weren't as crazy as,
Right.
Right, right.
but they were. They were definitely alpha males.
Mhm, mhm.
That could throw some hands and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
and they did, but Cade was just like, we are in a different place, and I think he was um a sign of my growth as a writer.
Mhm.
Um a sign of the growth of the family. They can't stay the same.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Um when I was writing the end part of the Donovan series, like books 12, 13, 14. And I was getting emails from readers and they were like, "Well, when are you going to write a book like you wrote the first Donovan? Like I like the first 3 Donovans. When are you going to write that again?" And the answer is I'm not, cuz
Mhm.
I'm not there
Mhm.
anymore. That's not
Right.
who
Right.
I am as a writer,
Right.
and I really do try not to give you the same story over and over again. So we all got to grow together.
Right.
Um and I'm okay if you don't like it anymore. If you say, "Look, this is not what I signed up for in this series, so I'm not gonna read it." I'm okay. I'm okay with that because I write a lot of stuff, and
Right.
Mhm.
so I have something else that you'll
Right.
like, even if it's not this series. I say that all the time when I'm at book signings and people come to my table and they're like, "Oh, tell me about your book. Tell me." No, tell me what you like to read because I write a bunch of things. We can find something that I've written
And
that you
we'll be
like.
here all day if I start just naming
Right.
Right.
And I don't remember. I'm telling y'all, I don't be remember.
stuff.
I'm telling you.
Right, because I saw you kind of like when I said I started with your paranormal, and you was thinking like, okay, and I said shadow
What you
shift.
talking about?
Well, and because I've done shadow shifters. I
Mhm.
did wolf shifters, I did dragon shifters. So I didn't really
Oh
know which
yeah,
one because
right,
I've done all of those.
right. Because I did notice that you did some more recently too.
The dragons were the most recent
Okay, yeah.
one.
I have to check those out. I haven't looked into those yet.
Yeah. And then the end of the year it'll be a dark academia, but they are like witches and things.
Okay,
So
yeah, I
yeah.
can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so with Cade, um, not wanting to commit, be in a committed relationship, and
Yeah.
he believed that as long as he told the women, okay, this is just gonna be sex, that's it. If you can want to roll with that, that's
And
cool.
they
If
should
not,
listen. I
They should.
mean, look, he was like, we grown.
right,
If I'm telling you this is what it is, like you can say no, I don't want to be a part of that. And then he move on to the next person. But he really felt like if I'm telling you up front I'm doing the right thing. Um,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe that's true, Cade, sir. Um,
right.
you
And I think Shauna said that too.
yeah, you need to get yourself together because that's just a cop out. So um but he believed it. And again, he was very he was gonna stand in whatever he said, he was gonna be 10 toes down. Y'all you were not changing his mind was not easy.
Mhm.
And his mind wasn't changed about Shauna until she left, which,
Right.
Which
you
happens a
yeah,
lot in
yes,
relationships.
yes. Yeah, you
They
gotta
gotta miss you.
you gotta
They gotta
miss it.
figure out
You
what
gotta miss
what
it.
they had.
And he did.
You
He
did.
did. He
Yes.
didn't know how to do he didn't know how to even in that moment, he didn't know how to navigate
No.
missing
Mhm.
her.
No.
Mhm.
Um,
He
for as
turned it.
much
Go ahead. I'm
for as
sorry.
much as he was I do what I want. I
Right.
don't have to explain anything to he did not know how to navigate missing her.
Mhm. He like, what's going on?
Mhm.
This I should be able to just roll past this.
Yep. This should be over. I should be able to go and get another woman. And he knew
Right.
he could get another woman,
Right.
but if that's not the woman that you want,
Mhm.
I mean, you can go and waste your time, but and I think having them in the same workplace um, made it even more difficult for him to navigate
Right.
Mm-hmm.
because she's right there.
Right.
Right
Like you
there. Yeah.
and then he needed her for something else, not even just on the job. Then you need her for the side job you paying her for.
So,
Oh
So
man.
look,
But she was really, I was like, when she broke it off, but she was broke it off to protect him, but she didn't tell him. But I guess she didn't know that other side of him. Because if she
no,
did, she would have
she
known.
didn't.
oh,
She
it's
didn't.
funny. And she had to be reminded by her bestie because Zal was like, "Are you kidding me? Like this
Hmm.
dude can handle himself. What are you
Right.
Hmm.
doing? Like,
Hmm.
you know?"
Why you scared for him?
Yeah.
You act like you're gangster X. Look who he about to go up against. Like,
He
okay.
said, do you know who the Donovans are?
Right.
But I think her fear was this is the man I love. Like, I don't
Right.
want him hurt, period. Whether
Right.
he has to be in a gunfight and I don't want him in the gunfight.
Right. Right.
Not in and especially not in a gunfight because of me
Right.
or over me. Um, with crazy Jinx that really wanted to kill him. But sir,
And I understood it. And I felt for her too with what she was struggling with her cousin and his addiction and wanted
mhm,
Yeah.
to
wanting
get
to
him
save
help.
him.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
that was difficult. But I loved how once Kate found out how he he took charge, and
Mhm.
just because he didn't want her to, stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was even before he, truly
Yeah.
admitted that he had feelings for her. But
He was still gonna take care of her.
right, right.
He was still gonna do the things he needed to do to protect her. And sometimes in stories, I'm leery about doing that just because,
Making the man the savior.
yeah, because it's you all there's this balance you have to have.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You want him to be the savior because he's the hero,
Right.
but
Hmm.
also she has to be able to save herself,
Hmm.
or she's weak. And so it's always tricky trying to have that balance
Yes.
of
Right.
how, and if he's not doing all the hero things, um spoiling her, taking care of her, being
Right.
protective of her, then he's not a good hero.
Right. Are
So
we
he
gonna be
has
drawn
Exactly.
to him? Right.
right, so he has to do all
Right.
these things, but she also has to find a way to, um, make it clear that she can do these things herself. She can
Hmm.
save herself. She could have killed Jinx.
She could have.
She threatened him. She pulled a gun on him. Like she could have. She could have taken care of that herself. She could not save her cousin.
Right. That's
Nobody
something
could
that was
save her
definitely out of her
cousin.
control.
And
Right.
that was a real struggle for her because she wanted to. All this control she had within her job and within her relationship,
Hmm.
she can't save her cousin.
Right.
And that was
But
a
you know what
struggle.
I thought too was interesting, and I like the aspect, the dynamic of her being an FBI agent, but in her personal life, she still was, in this abusive
Yep.
relationship.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure that happens plenty of,
Mhm.
plenty
Mhm.
with law enforcement officers.
Yep.
Mhm.
Um, and so I thought that was
Mhm.
a good aspect too.
I didn't know, um Crazy Exes is a easy storyline to write. The difficult part is figuring out a way to make it different. This
Hmm.
great this Crazy
Hmm.
Ex, make it different than the
Mhm.
last one or the last
Hmm.
20 of them. Um and so I knew that I wanted Jinx to want her back. Like he has to want her back.
Mhm.
But I also wanted there to be another reason he wanted her back, not just because he owned her. Well, he thought
Right.
he owned her. And her uncle feeling like she needed to go back to him too. He was such a nuisance. Oh,
Mhm.
break my nerves. Sometimes
Mhm.
I write characters and I just
Yeah,
want to
she has
kill
a
them.
terrible family.
A
Terrible.
terrible family.
Grandmother,
Terrible.
everybody.
Oh, terrible. And originally, when I started writing it, I wanted the grandmother to be her rock. I wanted the grandmother to be
Yes.
the only
She was
good
not.
thing she had,
Right.
but she really didn't turn out to be that way.
She
But
didn't.
I wanted that for Shauna, but then I also just wanted a fresh start. I wanted her to have, um, a real caring family without any strings,
Hmm.
and I felt like she was gonna find that with the Donovans. So,
Right.
And I love the scene where she gets when she goes with him to the Donovans, and she's never experienced
Yeah.
mhm,
anything, like their tight knit family.
yeah.
Mhm.
Even though he tells her, we have our issues too, but their issues are probably nothing like.
Nothing like hers. Well I will
Nothing.
say at that point, their issues were nothing like hers, but
Mm-mm.
later on down the road,
Oh, okay, okay.
might they might they might be. Just because there's always, um we always have parts of people in our family that
Yeah, yeah,
we choose not to deal with.
true.
Um, it doesn't mean they're not related to us anymore.
Mhm.
Um, People that we don't like what they do, how they do it, doesn't mean they're not related to us anymore. So,
True.
I always want the Donovans to be as realistic as they can be as far as the family dynamics. Um, so I figured, it's about time for them to have a few bad apples,
Skeletons.
or yeah, like because
Why
we
not?
because we all have them, so
That's
they're
true.
gonna they're
That's
gonna
true.
have they'll have them too. So
Those embarrassing family members, or
yeah, well, I mean, because all this time Trent has been the most embarrassing one. That man, look, and I told them last year at when we were at One Love, I told them, I said, because I wasn't finished writing Cade, and I said, they were like, "Well, what's going on with Cade?" And I was like, "Well, I'll tell you what's not going on. Trent is not in his book. Trent is not in his book." And I kept saying it and saying it. And I almost got all the way through that book without having Trent in there. And then here go this man. I could have named all of the cousins, and I typed his name just as easily to come into that hospital.
It could have been
And I
Eddie.
was
Yeah.
like, "Sir, of all the, why are you here?" That man,
Oh
he get
man,
on my nerves. He get
it's
on my
making me want
nerves.
to do a reread.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Period.
I
Let's
will
see.
when I think when I said I was gonna when we set the date to come on here, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this will be good timing because we do have something coming up for the Donovans, and it'll be coming right on time." Okay, so the announcement for that is next Tuesday. So you could do your reread next Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh
Okay.
my goodness, I can't wait. I can't wait. You know what I love too is I loved how Shauna submitted to him in the bedroom.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because she didn't come off as weak to me. She came off, she was damaged, but she definitely came off like an alpha female.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But in the bedroom, she definitely let him lead, and because that takes a lot of trust too, from her being damaged the way she is to let somebody tie you.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that also there is a measure of power in the submission.
Mm,
yeah.
Um, a lot of people see the word submission, hear the word submission, and immediately
weak, yeah.
think that makes
Yeah.
them weak. And it doesn't. Like, there's a lot of you are exerting a lot of power just in
Mhm.
submitting because you don't have
Right,
to. And he knew she
right,
didn't have to. Like, he knew her. He knew she could dominate. She could
right.
do this. She could. But the fact that she didn't and she
Right.
let
Hmm.
him take charge, there was a lot of power in
Mhm.
that. He recognized
Yeah.
that. That's why he was like, "Okay, well, this why I ain't gonna be
Right.
doing this."
My girlfriend forever.
Oh man. But you wrote those scenes were hot, hot, hot. I'm
Hot,
telling
hot,
you.
hot. Hot.
uh,
Had to
okay,
happen.
Katina, what was a standout moment for you in the book of Cade?
What I loved was Cade and Cody's relationship. His
Yes,
sister. I
yes.
felt like that
Mhm.
bond was so special.
Especially
Um,
when you get his backstory
yeah, that's when it hit
and
like,
Mhm.
ooh,
Mhm.
I love that for them. And they stayed that
Yeah.
way. It didn't change.
hmm
It changed because they got older and they had
Mhm.
to realize that, she was a woman and,
Yeah.
she probably do stuff. But it was still like that,
Yeah.
still protective, like that's
yes.
still my little sister.
Right. He said, "Don't you know I'm the older?"
Right.
You feel like you got to protect me.
Right. And he was the one, he's the one to calling her for the cleanup, and it's
Mhm.
like
For the
she
cleanup,
handled it.
yep.
She could handle her business. And
Yeah, I
Although
love that
I
too. I
love that.
love it.
That was good.
Mhm.
waiting wait until he finds out she's
I
married to
know,
Trent.
Oh, that it. Oh my goodness, that just. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait.
I was gonna bring that up.
So that's the next one. Oh, I
Yes,
can't
the
wait.
next
I
book.
can't wait.
Yeah.
I
I
can't wait.
It's
cannot
Cody and
wait.
Trent.
Oh man. Yes, we got to see his
Yeah.
reaction.
Yeah, he not gonna
Oh
take it
man.
well. And I don't know. I was talking to somebody who read it and they were like, "Oh, are they gonna fight? Are they gonna?" I was like, "I don't know who will win that fight.
Right.
Like,
That would be brutal. It definitely
I
would be
don't
brutal.
know
He a big
how.
dude.
Yeah, I don't know how that will work out. I don't know. Like, I know, like, Trent was really distressed when Devlin and Bailey got
Mhm.
together, and that was a
Hmm.
thing. But Bailey's his cousin, not his sister.
Right, right, right,
Cody
right.
is Cade's sister,
So this is gonna be on a whole
and
different
all
level.
that they've been through,
Hmm.
it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a big thing for him. So yeah, I don't know how that's gonna turn out. Somebody somebody might have to take a
Oh
bullet. I
man.
don't know who. They not they not gonna die. Maybe it'll graze them or something.
But that crazy gonna come out.
I mean, they're both crazy. Fury is crazy. Cade is
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
Oh man, I
They not just gonna go to brunch and talk it
right.
out. Like
Mm.
So we know
that's
that's
not
not
how
gonna
that's gonna
happen.
work
Okay.
out. No, 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 no. It's that has to be intense. And then Cody is intense in
Yeah.
and of
True.
herself. Like
True.
she has a whole thing herself, a
Mhm.
whole reason why she's doing the work she
Right.
does, and she has a whole thing. So that story is going to be very intense, very, very emotional, and pretty violent because I mean they're both violent,
And that's
so
the
it's gonna be
spinoff,
pretty
probably the
violent.
start of the spinoff.
That's the
Okay.
spinoff. It'll be so it's called the Donovan's Renegade.
Okay.
Okay.
And right now it's just 3 books,
Okay.
which
Right,
I'm
right,
watching
right.
them, not a lot. So,
Because how many
As
books are
you
in the
right.
original Donovan series?
Uh, there are 15 books in the original Donovan
Okay, I
series,
thought it was even more
and
than that.
there are 8 Donovan Friends
Okay.
stories, and then 6 Donovan Dynasty stories. See, they big numbers. That's why I was like, oh, Renegade can be just 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because, but again, the triple threat started out as just
Right,
3. So,
right.
Mhm.
well, we'll see. We'll see. I was looking at the family tree the other day, and I was like, well, it's some more right here. Like it's
We
literally,
got this
I don't
branch over here.
I don't have to make them up. They're right here on the family tree. So nobody can say, "Oh, she's just making people up." No, she's not. It's right here. Look,
We know
the
the
family tree
Donovans
don't
are a
lie.
big group, a big group.
Um,
Mhm.
they are a big group. And I think,
So-
um, as long as readers are
Mm-hmm.
reading them, as long
Yes.
as they're reading them, they're
Right.
asking for them. I love a
Yeah, I do too.
series. I
Same.
love writing
Yeah.
series. A lot of times I'll write a book and think it's not a series, and then readers will ask about this
Right.
secondary character and this one and that one, and then it becomes a series. So I don't like having to um, go back and finish the series. I wish that I would have been more disciplined enough to just write one series and stop and write another
Mm,
series and stop, because now I have like I have 3 series that are like up in the air, and I need to write
mm.
stories to finish it. Um, so I wish I had been more disciplined and just wrote the whole series, um, and then move on. And that's why I think the plan for Renegade is just 3 books, because then I could
Just
just
knock
write
them
those
out and
3
then go
books
to.
and then move
Yeah.
Mhm.
on to the next thing. So, because like the Game Changers series, there's 6 friends, and I only wrote the first 2 books.
Okay, yeah,
There's 4 books
yeah.
I gotta write. Like,
Mhm.
so I'm starting the 3rd book this week, but it's like, then there's 3
Mhm.
more I gotta write. And then I have to
Right,
stop.
because you have the other,
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna write right, I'm gonna write this one, and then Imma stop and then go back to the
But
Donovans.
doesn't that
Well, I
keep it
think I have to
fresh
do
also? Because do you, yeah,
it does.
where you don't feel like stuck or anything because you're moving from different.
Mhm. And again, because I obviously write how I read, because I read
Yeah, I
like
do
that.
too.
That's
Lots
true.
of different
So,
genres, lots of different. Yeah.
Mhm.
mhm. When I write, especially when I write paranormal, um, when I write whatever I'm writing, I'm watching shows in that
Mm-hmm.
same
Mhm.
genre too. So when I was writing the paranormal book earlier this year, I'm watching all paranormal
Mm-hmm.
shows. I'm listening to paranormal books. Like I am just all
Immersed in that
paranormal at that
world.
time. So by the time I finished that book, I was like, "Oh Lord, I need something contemporary. Like I need to go back to my police procedurals. I
Right.
need to see who's dying, like figuring out who is the murderer." Like because I
Gotta
have
get out of
been in
that
paranormal for
mindset, yeah.
so long,
That world.
but I have to write the second book in that story later this year, in that duology later this year. So I'll go back to the paranormal stuff, but that'll be after months of being in contemporary and suspense.
When's the last time you went back and read your Shadow Shifters? Have you reread that?
I have not reread the Shadow Shifters.
Do you remember who the main character was in the game?
Yes,
Yes,
Roman
I
Reynolds.
loved him.
Roman
I
Reynolds.
loved him.
I will not forget Roman Reynolds. Will not forget Roman Reynolds in that office with
Yes, yes,
Kalina.
yes. I love and you
Because I was like, well, sir, how you a whole jaguar and you still got 44 hours? You ju- you just whipping it out in the
wait a minute, I'm gonna have
office?
to
In the
go. Now you're
office?
making me want to go over there and eat all that.
He told her she wanted it.
Oh
I
man.
mean, look,
Oh God.
Yes.
no, I have not gone back to reread any of those. Mainly because I haven't written anything connected
Right.
to
That's what I was
them.
gonna say. Yeah. Have you ever
So
thought
I haven't,
about like doing
yeah.
a spinoff of Roman and that world?
So we did there are 6 books in that series, and there was a spinoff um young adult. There were 3 spinoff young
Oh really?
adult
Okay.
books that go with that series. And then after the series was done at St. Martin's, I did 2 more books, The Shadow Shifter Rebellion. I did those 2 books. And I was gonna go back at that point when I was doing the Rebellion books, I was gonna keep going. Um, but at that point it was like, okay, look, this is not making financial
Mhm.
sense
Oh,
for me.
okay. Yeah.
Um, I put these books out and then I put these contemporary books out. Which one is
Right.
making the money back? Which
Right.
one, is gonna make a profit? Because there's a lot of time that goes into paranormal
Mm-hmm.
books. It's not just it's not just the outline that I do for um, the Donovans. Like this is a huge
Right.
world and lots of things that I have to keep
Right.
up with. So can I keep investing the time in that if it's not getting the
Right.
return? And I felt bad because there are readers that love that series and want those books. But I just had to explain, look, um, I can't give that my time right now because it's not
The
giving me
return.
anything
Yeah.
in return.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Because I had an author on the other day that was saying that that's one of the advice things that she said is that you have to also, besides the creative, you have to know the business side.
The
Right.
business, yep. And it has to make everything that I do now has to make good
Mm-hmm.
business sense. One, because I will be retiring from the day job soon. Um, Mr. A would love me to stay on the day job forever because that good
Right,
state
right, right.
insurance for that good state health insurance. So he would love me to stay there forever. But no, I will be retiring from that job soon, and then it will be um, only the
Mm-hmm.
books. And so all of the book business, all of the different things I have going on in the book business
Have to
have
make,
to make
yeah.
financial sense. I can't do the things, and that doesn't mean I won't have passion projects, but even those projects will be fit into the schedule in a way that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense, and also with the understanding that this is the passion project.
Right.
This is not the project. We're not gonna
Right,
eat off
right.
of this
Mhm.
one,
Right.
um, and, s- and so we have to strategically put that in the schedule. Like this can't
Right,
be
I
at the
hear
forefront,
you.
right? Um, but yeah, because it is a business. It is. While I would love to just write the stories
Yeah.
that my readers love or want to see, um, nah, nah, my grandchildren like toys.
It say too
They
much.
like candy. They like we went on a Disney cruise for Thanksgiving and they
Well, I
loved
heard they were
that.
nice,
So
the Disney
look,
Oh,
cruises.
nice.
oh my gosh, they loved it. And they came back and we were at brunch like a week later and they were like, "So Nana got to write
Right.
more
So we
books." And
do
I
our
was
next
like,
one.
right? Like, "Oh,
Next
okay.
cruise.
Okay. Well, I'm glad y'all
Oh,
know how
no,
this
that's
works."
right.
Yeah. Erica saying that who could forget Xavier and his piercings?
You know what? Xavier, I listened to a book when I was writing the paranormal. I listened to a book, but this wasn't a paranormal. I think this was a mafia book. But anyway, he had piercings, and he called. What did he say? The piercings were Jacob's
Mhm.
ladder. I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'm steadily listening because okay, he talked about these piercings, and he said, "I want you to count each one of my piercings as they go in." And I was like, I'm listening. I'm like, what? I rewinded. I said, what? S- Say that again. I listened to that scene like 30 it wasn't that I was shocked that he
Right.
had the piercings because Xavier had piercings in the shadow shifters. I was like, but I never thought to say for her to count on me doing
Right.
that. I was like, oh, this is
Oh man.
something. That was something. Xavier
Even
didn't
though-
say that, and Xavier was a whole
Yes,
mess, but
yes,
he wouldn't have
yes.
said that.
Before we end the first segment, do you want to let everyone know about your upcoming event next year?
Oh, One Love Reunion, One Love, One Love, One Love, OneLoveReunion.com. It has dates on the website. We do not have the author list yet. Um, I mean, we do have the authors committed. We just haven't done the list yet because I've been sick. It's been a lot. But yes, in July next year, it will be our 11th One Love
Congratulations
Reunion.
on
We're really
that.
excited. Thank you. We're going to New Orleans.
Yes, and I hope to
So
join you.
we're excited. I hope to see you
Mhm.
there. I hope to see you there. The more the merrier. We have a great time. We have a great time. It's a really comfortable event. And we call it the One Love Reunion because it's like a whole big family
Mhm.
reunion. With
Yeah,
books. That is the
right,
best kind of
right.
family reunion in the world. It's not with family drama, it's
Right.
with books. It's great. It's great. And we dress up. It's great. Even though they told me stop making people dress up, but we're
Well,
gonna
you know,
dress up
people love
again.
to,
So
be able to pull out their
I
that's
think
what I
so. I think
said.
so.
I said we could dress up. I said we don't get to dress up
Right.
that much. We need all the joy in
Yes.
our life that we
Yes.
can muster at this
I
point.
agree.
And books bring us that joy, but also, spending that weekend together. Oh, we have a very special guest coming, and she's doing a very special tour. It's gonna be
I
great. It's gonna
cannot
be great.
wait. I can't
It's
wait.
gonna be great.
This JB
It's
is
gonna be
saying,
great.
AC, I have seen a very lovely side of you. I love
Um,
Ah,
it.
Miss JB, you've been knowing me for 100 years. You ain't seen this
oh my
side of me yet.
goodness.
Right.
I'm joking. Look, this is I told my kids, all right, well, we over 50 now, so we really are heading into this really don't care
Mhm.
mode. And they was like, well, Mama, what that mean? I was like, I don't care. This is what I mean. This is
Right.
what I mean. I do not have time for any of your foolishness. You're gonna get what you get from me. And they don't like that. But hey,
Of course not.
they didn't pack up and move. They didn't pack up and
Pigeon.
move out. So hey,
Oh,
they must love it. They must love it. I'm pretty content with it myself.
oh man, well, I really want to thank you for coming on the show. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure.
Well, thank you so much
You're
for
very
having me.
welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm going to look
It was
out for
great.
the next book. I'm really excited about it.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for it's two announcements. It's the one that's next week, and then, well, the Renegade is not an announcement because I told you about that. The cover will be an announcement. The blurb will be an announcement. But yes, I'm
Yes.
excited.
So I
I'm
will
excited.
definitely be sure to share it when I see it. And I
Okay.
can't wait to read it. I'll reach out to you once I read it. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having
You're
me. Thank
welcome.
you.
All right, Harry, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Right.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to get into the second segment for our weekly highlight.
Yeah.
And let's see. Again, for those who are new here, we do a weekly highlight of books that stood out to us for whatever reason and that we want to share with other book lovers. So let us know in the comments if you have read either of our picks for this week and let us know your thoughts on them if you've read them already. All right. You want to go first, Katina? You want me to go first? Let me put my.
I'm looking up my thing.
Okay, I'll go first.
Go first. Yeah.
Okay, mine is for this week.
Oh, I found it.
I'm going to reach out to this author too so she can see. All right, mine is Full Throttle by LaShawn Vassar. And I read this back in 2020. Loved it. I believe it became one of my top picks. If I'm not, yeah, I believe it did. It was one of my top picks for 2020.
Okay.
It has 277 pages. Um, and that's when it was released as well in 2020, I believe.
Okay.
The genre is multicultural and interracial romance, and also contemporary romance. This is book one, but book two just recently came out, I believe, towards the end of last year in 2024. But this is book one. I haven't read book two yet. The synopsis is Kobe James can't seem to escape the world of stock car racing, her father's first love. She wanted out and at the first opportunity left it all behind. She needed to put as much distance as possible between that life and the pain it caused. But after years of running, her father needs her. It was time to come home and well past time to lay old ghosts to rest. Billionaire businessman Liam Lockwood does not like the unknown and usually has two or three plans for everything. He also hates being out of his element, which is where he found himself after being thrust into the chaotic world of stock car racing. Events place Liam and Kobe on a surefire collision course and find out what happens in this sexy, high octane romance, Full Throttle. All right, and then my thoughts on the book. I actually looked at my review from 2020, and
Oh, okay.
so it was out there. So my review was: I get so excited when I read a book that feels a little different from the norm, whether it be through the characters, a unique career, an exotic or remote locale, or insight into an industry not many people know about. I love being swept up in a world that very few get to experience up close. That is how I felt as I read about the world of NASCAR from the perspective of an African American female driver who is destined to make history. The secondary characters were well developed and added to the story, which is always a plus for me. The romance between Kobe, the heroine, and Liam, Kobe's love interest, was almost secondary to me, although I fully enjoyed them and their journey. However, reading about Kobe's struggles to be acknowledged by NASCAR and others for her superior skill on the track in a predominantly white male industry and sport is what really captured and held my attention. I highly recommend. And I do
Wow.
highly recommend this. This was an excellent, excellent read. And like I said in my review, I got swept up in this world of NASCAR with this black female driver and all that she struggled with in that industry. So if you haven't read Full Throttle by LaShawn Vassar, please check it out. You will not be disappointed. And like I said, she just recently put out book two, and that's on my list to read that. I probably have to go back and reread this first, but because like I said, I read it back in 2020. But very, very, very good book. I believe I gave it 5 stars as well. So
Wow.
yeah.
I'm thinking I read that and I can't I was as I'm looking at it, I'm looking like that. I'm
Yes,
looking at
and I love this cover. You know, I'm a cover. I love beautiful covers. I love this cover. Um,
yeah, that sounds good though.
yes, 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 yes.
I have read some of her work, but
Hmm.
I had I don't know if it's called if it's paranormal or not. The this is Magnetic Pulse.
Oh yeah, the dystopian. I read that too. Yep, dystopian world. I
That
believe
was some
that's what
good
it was.
stuff.
That was very, very good. Erica, I said how long it is. It's 277 pages, which is not very long.
But what's long? What is considered long, by the way?
Right. What is considered law, Erica?
It's up to
Jennifer, oh, you
interpretation.
said you think you have this on. You should check it out, Jennifer. It was very, very, very good. I can't
It's on your
say
Kindle,
enough about it.
Jennifer.
It was truly, truly, truly a really good read. And I can't wait to check out book two. All right, so we're gonna get into Katina's. Yeah.
Well, the book that I picked, something I read, I actually read the whole series. Um,
And I
uh,
love this author.
no, that's why
Uh,
I think I started with um the Black Brothers, and then
yes, that's one of my favorite series of her.
Hush, and then it just kind of just evolved, and I
Right,
just
Brothers
started
Black.
reading everything.
Yeah, the Brothers Black series. And what's the name of this one?
So
Pit.
this is Pitt, the A-Hole Club series. This is
Mm-hmm.
book one, of course, by Blue Sapphire. Uh, and this came out, I think, 2021, if I'm not mistaken, not too long ago. This is interracial romance. There's a little bit of suspense in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Not It's a little longer than yours, Erica. It's
Wait a
about
minute, what is
300.
Erica saying? Cheryl's most recent books were 500 plus, but she was curious about another reference, but this way.
No. This one is only 350. I say
So that's not
only,
so
but that's
that's not too bad.
not.
Um, which one is this? Isla, you talking about this one, Blue Sapphire?
Yeah.
Yes, I love Blue Sapphire's work. And if you haven't checked out previous show, we talked to Blue Sapphire, I believe it was last year. So
Yeah.
it was a very, very good
I love
show. So check that out if you haven't already.
I love her so much. She's the introverted extrovert. I always like
Hmm.
to call her because she's like, I don't like to talk, but she was so engaging. So
Yeah, she definitely was engaging. Yeah.
but the synopsis for this one, the two characters in this book, we start out with is Pitt and well they call her Skittles at the book.
Oh,
But
okay.
uh the synopsis is Pitt's side. If you've never called me one, you've never met me. I'm a bona fide member of the A-Hole Club. Oh, we've earned the name, which is why, for the life of me, I can't understand why I'm putting everything on the line for this chick. She drives me crazy. She's not mine, and she's a little a-hole herself. Uh, However, from the first night I saw her, she's been like a flashing light, beaconing me to chase down danger. Yeah, I have a little thing for Maven Skittles Jennings. That's probably why she knows to keep her tail away from me, and I've kept my distance from her. That is until she needs my help. And then Skittles says, William Pittman. Yeah. Like Pitt is the last person I want to go for help, but I need a savage for this task. A savage that's as good behind a wheel as I am. So they're drivers. They're street racers. Pitt's a jerk, but he's my best option. I have three goals: get to my cousin Shauna and save her life. Two, make sure no one finds out what Shauna and I have gotten ourselves into, especially
Mm.
not our parents, the good old mayor and my aunt that could be the next senator. And three, don't fall for the a-hole who storms in and takes control like he always does. We've been seeing things all wrong. The truth changes everything. We can race against the clock or burn the mother bleeper
Right.
down and take what's ours, including each other. So this is like I don't if it's pretty I mean, what you get in this because you get like a family and it's not the traditional family. Like we always say
So
that.
like found family.
Right. They because each one of these characters you get introduced in the first book.
Okay.
And every character that's in the the five books that follow are all involved in this same incident.
Okay.
Everybody's book starts from that one
That
accident or
point.
that one
Okay.
incident, and then everybody's point of view goes off into a different direction.
Okay. Okay.
So you follow like their what happened after they left the race. And so in this book we follow these two characters and how they went away, what they took away from that race, and how all these friends came together to form this strong bond
Mm.
that it's like that almost they're so honest that is they almost come to blows sometimes, and that's why the a-holes. So they don't mind, telling you you're wrong and telling you real aggressively and really strongly that you need to get it together. But eventually everybody comes around and gets it. There's always the love there that they have for each other. And she's the only this character, Skittles. She is uh, a black woman, and these guys are white men,
Right.
and he's, you know, this interracial thing, but they're also dominant men, alphas, like we always,
Mhm.
and their relationship, it's not, and no, we always talk about, you know, what is that one we don't like, the genre? We don't like enemies to lovers.
Oh, enemies to lovers.
It's not really that is it's a good flow, because these people have known each other for 12 years plus. They
Okay.
kind of grew up together, and they all have these tragic backgrounds with dysfunctional families and parents that are just, and we've been doing that thing for a while with this dysfunctional
Yeah, the
dad.
last several books has been but so this is not motorcycle club. This is, you said, street drag race,
Street
street
racing,
racing.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and and it's, you know, one of the things that they are doing at this race is getting away from the cops. So,
Mhm.
and like when I read in the synopsis, this woman, her parents, or, you know, they're political people. So
Right.
she's got to keep a low cover. It doesn't always work, but you know, when the man you're in love with is Pitt,
Right.
it's
In this
kind of
club.
hard not to. So, but it's a lot of ups and downs. It's a lot of moments you're like clutching your pearls, don't know what's going to happen. Um, at the end of the day, they always win, but it's always a ride. It's always a ride.
Because I actually have this on my TBR. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. Because I read
Hmm.
most of
Hmm.
Blue Sapphire books, but for some reason I haven't read this one yet. But yeah, Islin is saying she loved Blue. She read the series.
Yeah.
Um, uh, first post was Joan. My post was LaShawn Vassar.
LaShawn.
LaShawn Vassar. It
Mm-hmm.
was called Three Full Throttle.
I think I've read
Um,
that before.
and
Hmm.
then Islam says she gives you a 360 view
Right.
of
It's
the incident.
crazy. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that the thought of that. I would never think. Like every
Hmm.
book was that one night that
Yeah,
just,
I saw a movie like that
what was that, Crash
years
or something?
ago. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, but yes, I'm gonna have to check it out because I don't know why I haven't delved into that one. But I'm gonna get into it. Um, but yes, so please check out our highlights if you have not already, and please check out AC Arthur's Cade or the rest of the books in that series,
Yeah.
the Donovan Dynasty. Cade is the last book in that spinoff series, and then she's going to be starting the next spinoff series for the Donovans. I think she said Tuesday is the announcement.
Yep.
Well, actually, today was the announcement because she said it on the
Oh,
show.
that is that. Yeah. That's
But
fine.
yes, but so I'm looking forward to that as well. And I want
Mhm.
to thank everyone for coming out and being so engaged and supporting the show. Is I really appreciate it. And please join us next Monday. I'll be on with a new author to me, Drea Wells.
Yeah.
We will be on at an hour earlier, so please keep that in mind. We'll be on at 6 p.m. Eastern time
Hmm.
instead of 7 because the author lives in the UK. So I hope you all can join us then as well.
Yeah.
All right. And thank you again for coming out. And we'll see you next time, same station.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.